Welcome to the Wrap-Up, a VR live stream focused on keeping you up to date with the adoption of universal profiles and growth of the new creative economy. Join us as we uncover the fusion of technology, artistry, and innovation that's redefining how we create, share, and experience in this digital age. It's time to wrap it up. Welcome in, everyone, to the wrap-up. Today's October 20th. The year is 2023. And before we dive into today's shows, take a moment and click that like button and perhaps even subscribe if you haven't already. It helps a ton and will ensure that you will not miss any of our upcoming content. Alts, how's it?
Greetings. This cycle of your planet's rotation brings much harmony and serenity. We too are experiencing a state of well-being on this designated Friday. I was like, hey, ChatGPT, give me a nice Friday greeting from an alien. That's what they prompted me with. So
Greetings, Earthling. Yeah.
Your kind gestures are much appreciated. May your Friday be filled with productivity and joy.
All right. I love it. Well, we are out here floating around just in front of Alpha Pink Turi behind us, where all of the news is pink and all of the love is for LUKSO. I guess. Oh God, everyone's like, will you just get into the goddamn show? Our top story today is exposing blind spots on popular crypto content creators. But before we get to our top story, let's hear from our friends and sponsors over at LEEQUID, our preferred liquid staking solution for the LUKSO blockchain. LEEQUID is a liquid staking solution purposely built for the LUKSO blockchain. Users can stake LYX tokens and in return, earn receipt SLYX tokens redeemable one-to-one for the deposited LYX. LEEQUID notably offers flexibility, allowing users to opt in or out of staking at any moment via the protocol's liquidity pool. This feature removes the potentially extensive wait times typically associated with traditional staking methods. With the support of advisors and multi-signatories from the LUKSO team, LEEQUID is steadfast in its commitment to achieving decentralization from the beginning, underlining transparency and trust. Following a thorough audit by consensus, LEEQUID is set to launch in October, integrating suggestions to ensure a seamless and secure user experience. Don't forget to follow LEEQUID on Twitter to stay updated on opportunities for earning passive rewards and contributing to the security of the LUKSO blockchain. Passive rewards and contributing security of the LUKSO blockchain. If you're interested in participating with LEEQUID, I would say keep your eyes peeled and your ears to the ground because there may be some news, positive news coming soon. Alts, that brings us to our first tweet here, which has actually nothing to do with LEEQUID, but is a great topic. And this is part of our top story. I wanted to start here because the tweet says the Great Wall in Web3. Now, the Great Wall of China was meant to keep out the invaders from the north, right? Those Mongolian barbarians are going to come down and mess stuff up. The Great Wall in Web3, I don't know who it keeps out other than normal people who just want to enjoy the new creative economy. I mean, what are you thinking about this thread, Alt? You're the one who put the thread in.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, I love this thread from Booga. Yeah, it was an epic thread. It kind of showcased these three different wallets and their attempt to integrate with the top 100 DApps. And it ushered in and kind of highlighted just a host of problems that comes with that. I was happy to see some LUKSO fam showing up and chiming in and kind of dropping our patented, LUKSO solves this. It was well played, fam. But yeah, Booga actually quickly moved on to the process of unearthing universal profiles alpha. And, I appreciate the fam who showed up and kind of dropped a bunch of different resources to go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, like it's just so important. And I love to see that more and more people are starting to realize the limitations of, wallets, right? And just why the average person is not here doing this stuff, because it's a mess, man. The current state is just not ideal in any way, shape, or form.
I love that you put in the heading for this topic in our private notes, profiles over wallets. A lot of people will express that through tweets like profiles greater than wallets. And greater than doesn't mean necessarily better than. Let's not go there, because although I believe that and you might believe that, it doesn't necessarily cut to the core of the issue. Profiles are greater than wallets in that they're going to allow for a lot more functionality, and the user experience is going to be better, right? So it's not so much like the profile is better than the wallet, it's everything attached to it gets better. So that brings us to the next tweet. Alts, right? Let's bring this bad boy up.
Yeah, so this one is shocking stats right here. Only 13% are perfectly synced with users' wallets. 32% dApps, like no go with the MetaMask if you don't have it. Like 43% have hardcore login options. 23% have 8 or more login options, while a couple of them had 20 login options. Like that is just unbelievable. That's just ridiculous, man. Like universal profiles are going to simplify everything so much, right? Like imagine the ease and the peace of mind when you just have to deal with one login that is, it's safe and it's secure. You know, like one login to rule them all is kind of the way I like to think of the future of this space.
One login to rule them all. Yeah, absolutely. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, doesn't mean that the one login is evil. It actually is going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. The number that I want to pull out here, 32% of dApps you can't even use if you don't have a MetaMask. So if you're one of those people that's like, I don't like MetaMask, I want to use insert favorite wallet here, there's a chance you're not even gonna be able to use the goddamn wallet. Maybe you could through some type of wallet connect environment if the dApp developer is willing to put that in there. But based upon Booga's research, literally 3 out of every 10 dApps, a little bit better than 3 out of every 10 dApps, you just can't use. If MetaMask is your preferred externally owned account and MetaMask is your wallet, right? You're just not even going to be able to use the dApp. And that's like a big womp womp when you go to log in.
Every time.
Yeah, the few times it does work, you're like, all right, yay, it actually connected, you know. Yeah, but yeah, those of us who actually are in you know, in this space using these things daily, you already know what a pain this is.
Yeah, I'm sure you've run into this, Alts, and this has definitely happened to me where I go to log into a dApp and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know how to get in there. And then I start feeling uncomfortable because now I'm going down this like clickception through layers of wallet connect, trying to get in there. And probably one of the things that annoys me more than anything in the world is when I go to bring like my ledger, I'm using a ledger and I want to connect into a dApp. And then I've got to go through some convoluted process to try to figure out how to actually gain access. It's annoying, it's off-putting, it's nerve-wracking at times.
Yeah, it's stressful, man, because it's like you're continually having to being forced to step through hoops into areas that you don't normally go into, and that's just not ideal.
Yeah, look at that picture that's on the screen between us there. How many times have you gone to like log into a dApp and you see beautiful icons, just way too many of them? Like, why does anybody want to support that many logins? If you're a dApp developer, you're like, oh, well, let's try to support every single iteration of wallet under the sun here. It doesn't make any sense. And then as a user, you click in, you see that it's easy to get confused, or you get lost in like this choice paralysis, right? Too many choices. I can't choose any, so I just choose none.
Yeah, exactly. It just becomes overwhelming pretty quickly. Yeah, so I could see a lot of people just, you know, just not engaging for a lot of this stuff just because it is overwhelming.
Yeah, super overwhelming. So later on down this thread, there was actually a really great meme that Booga comes up with. And the tag above it is like Web3 expectation versus reality. The expectation, Web3 logins are the next gen decentralized alternatives to conventional logins like Google or Facebook. And then reality, you're facing the issue of not being able to log in when you attempt to experience Web3. We love visual learning. And Rob actually put this perfectly. He's like, next generation utility, but it lacks next generation user experience. So you got that squirt bottle, it can go right in your mouth, or you squeeze on it, the cap pops off and it just dumps on your chin. You get none of the expected value from it.
Yeah, you're missing out on those that much needed source of hydration, right? Like the whole point of drinking in general, we're kind of lost. Like the current version of Web3, it's just so archaic, and like we need new standards, to move beyond just this simple financial tools, right? That's all we have are financial tools. And now people are trying to figure out how do we take these financial tools and build some other things. Well, it's like, that's just really not the best way to do it, right? Like the average person to actually use blockchain, things need to change at the core levels to just simplify it for everything.
Yeah. I like you, and probably when I say you, I mean you alts, and like you, the global you, anyone tuning in has probably resorted to a conventional login at this point. Like I'm going to use my Google account to sign in because it just simplifies things for me. It's not perfect though, because I'm not actually signing in with my Google account. It is getting, it's authenticating me by using the credentials from my Google account, but it's not actually connected to it. And it's really kind of imperfect, but it is convenient. It's actually super convenient. So a lot of people are doing it. It shows up on a lot of login screens. At the end of the day, though, at each one of these platforms that you're doing that on, you're creating like a siloed instance of a username and a password that only exists on that platform. Yeah, I can authenticate by using my Google account, but all the information, everything I'm doing is just contained in that one little silo. Wouldn't it be better if we had a user experience that on Web3, instead of, you know, basically any D app that I want to go in, I can just start with my identity. Like, this is me. It's my universal profile. Wouldn't that be better?
Oh, 1,000 times better. Like what you're alluding to there is like, yeah, we all use Google because it's convenient, but it's also centralized, right? We still don't own that account. Like Google can just delete it at any point in time and you just lose access. We still don't own that. And you said like it doesn't exist on chain, right? It exists in these closed walls, siloed gardens. And it's like, you have to kind of make a new instance for every platform that you visit, right? But imagine, you move it into this unified universal profile that exists on chain, and then you just simply choose what to interact with via that profile. And then every time you go to a new garden, well, you're still building value, reputation, identity through that universal profile. And then any sort of activity, right, it just feeds back into the profile, or your assets, they stay in the profile. They can be used on those platforms, but you don't ever give up ownership of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is, we've just said profile. Like, I was listening to you, you said profile a number of times, and I said profile a number of times. And again, we start at the top. Profiles are better than wallets. Right now, we use wallets to interact with DApps, right? Because the wallet is like this low-level technology that it really just stores your private key and allows you to sign for transactions. And there's lots of different wallets, and there's not really a consensus as to like, where are we going to start from, right? And that leads to that user experience problem, where now if you're a DApp developer, you've got to support any wallet, any developer's wet dream, so to speak, for wallets that they might create in the future. And that could be like 100 wallets down the line. It's really confusing. For one, the developer to understand or to anticipate what the user is going to want. And then as a user, you're like, well, what wallet do I choose to make sure that my favorite DApp is going to support it? We do have, we do have consensus. Like, you know, a lot of people use MetaMask, but there are other competitors out there. There's going to be a lot of that back and forth until someone comes up with a fundamental solution that makes it better. Now, alts, I said at the top, our top story, right, was we wanted to expose blind spots on popular crypto content. Okay. So that brings us to this tweet here. Let's just let it play and then we'll talk about it.
One of the biggest pain points in crypto are wallets. The current system is split into externally owned accounts and contract accounts. Most of you probably watching this, you have an externally owned account, which while great, it's also flawed, with the main flaw being you. It's a single point of failure, meaning if you lose your keys or you accidentally sign a malicious transaction, your favorite NFT is gone. Go on X and search BAYC hack. It is a depressing wasteland of stolen apes. Contract accounts are way more secure, but they normally come in the form of multi-sigs. It's a pain. Thankfully, there's some cool new tech called account abstraction, which essentially takes the externally owned accounts and the contract accounts and merges the best parts together allowing the secure smart contract wallets to be used as standalone wallets. The goal of this really is to decouple the relationship between the signer and the account, removing the single point of failure. Again, you. But it actually does a lot more. Enter social recovery, Vitalik's favorite way to secure a wallet. It's made up of a signing key and a set of guardians. Think of these guardians as Lord Voldemort's Horcruxes, requiring multiple points of failure before losing. A lot of this magic is enabled by EIP 4337, which has a lot of other neat features that we just don't have time for today. If you would like to hear more, go check out our website where we have an entire podcast dedicated to all the cool new tech that 4337 enables.
All right. So we said, or I'd label this blind spot, because what did this person not mention even one time in his nice, informative video about account abstraction? Alts, can you tell me what he was missing
A
there?
word is coming to mind, profile.
Didn't say profile even one time. Now, the reason it's a blind spot, and it's really becomes one of two choices here. Either Bankless is ignorant to the idea of universal profiles, meaning they're not aware of it, or they're ignoring it. And it's either one or both, or one or the other. I guess it can't be both. That is a logic trap that my brain just fell in. It has to be one or the other. What bothers me is I know for a fact that, there are people in the Bankless ecosystem that are aware of LUKSO. They have been to ETH Denver, the party that was sponsored by LUKSO out there. LUKSO is at every conference that these people go to. That one, again, I'm calling it a blind spot. I could be far harsher with a word there. I'm just choosing not to be. 4337 is certainly an advance in account abstraction, so to speak, in the Ethereum ecosystem, right? 4337 is designed specifically for the EVM, and it's designed around the Ethereum blockchain, but it basically focuses on improving really the functionality and flexibility of Ethereum by allowing transactions to be paid with various assets. It creates a way for transaction relayers to exist on Ethereum, which sounds really great, but it's not at the fundament. It's not the base of the ecosystem. It's something that's been added to the ecosystem. Now, in this video, Alts, he also makes mention of social recovery, which is something we definitely need. I mean, that's really cool, right? But social recovery is not a part of 4337. It's not something that's like natively built. It's something that is another standard that would have to be added on top of it. And on LUKSO, I realize social recovery is an additional standard as well, but it's built into the bedrock of the ecosystem around the profile. It's not something we're adding back to it through this kind of, I don't know, jury rig. It's not like duct tape and popsicle sticks, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, I mean, those things you mentioned, like, levels of account abstraction and social recovery and relayer services, like, those are just like, yeah, it's very, I like to use the word convoluted. Like, it's like a Frankenstein. We've created a Frankenstein, blockchain is the current state of Web3, with Ethereum. Like, and this is kind of why we need like, you always have that question, why another L1? Well, that's a typical valid question over the years, but now it is very easy to answer, right? Ethereum is noisy, it's crowded, it's expensive. If you actually wanted to, the standards are antiquated, right? If you wanted to update the standards and stuff at the core, you just can't do it at the core level, right? And you can't really get consensus because it's just a bunch of people running in different directions. Why keep adding to that convoluted mess? Like, it's backwards facing, right? The process, it makes things less secure and more decentralized because you're just stacking pieces on top of each other, right? And you're making it less easy for the average person to get in and do these things, right? Why not be able to start from scratch with a profile instead of a wallet, right? And then you just have, it's extensible. You can create and do anything you want. Now, Fabian, way back in the day, helped start this revolution by opening the floodgates with ERC20, right? But even he knew back then, like, it's honestly just kind of crap. Like, it's good in the short term, right? It's really good to get things just rolling, but he really wanted to slow down and kind of, pace ourselves and do it right. But then people just like, well, I can go do this, and just started running off and building in just random different direction. There was no unity to it, right? And then now, once we move beyond just the very simple, monetary instruments and start thinking about things like decentralized social media and, things like those, then now you're running into these issues, right? So thankfully, he started looking well beyond into the future, even back at those initial stages, and started thinking about sustainability and how to actually usher in, mass adoption.
Yeah. So mass adoption is going to come when people can use the blockchain, but they don't have to think too hard about making these fundamental choices around like where to get started. If I'm going to bog down my parents, and do I have to choose MetaMask or Rainbow Wallet or Argent Wallet, or you name the wallet, I don't care. Like, it's a blank line, and there's way too many wallets out there right now, and even more wallets coming. Know that like you can start on LUKSO with a universal profile as your single point of login. It's the portal where you get into blockchain, and then you can obviously add quote unquote wallets that deal with token management underneath the profile itself, right? So you can plug different wallets into the profile, but I'm no longer logging in with the wallet. The seed phrase is far less important, so to speak, right? Because that can be swapped out. What's more important is the login. Now, Alts, I wanted to go through a few things here because I think it's important for the listeners, right? And so the primary function of 4337, like I said, is just it's about account abstraction through enabling almost like a gas relayer service, so to speak, right? So it's going to enable users to have the gas paid for by different types of tokens. That's probably a real oversimplification, but that's what I want you to think about. It's limited in scope. 4337 is very limited in scope. LUKSO's universal profiles really are more focused on creating a comprehensive framework for how people interact within the LUKSO ecosystem. And they're designed with the additional LSPs that kind of get tagged on to LSP0 to improve the overall user experience. So really, LUKSO's simply, I'll just, this is to the point. You could clip this. LUKSO's universal profiles are comprised of LUKSO standard proposals, LSPs, and they offer several capabilities that go beyond what 4337 can achieve. Here's what universal profiles can do that 4337 cannot. Comprehensive user profiles. Universal profiles provide a standardized framework for managing user profiles within the LUKSO blockchain ecosystem. Users can maintain rich and detailed profiles with various attributes and metadata, enabling more comprehensive identity management. Universal profiles facilitate interactions between users and decentralized applications on the LUKSO network, right? Users can customize how their profiles react to specific tokens or transactions, and it offers a higher degree of personalization. LSPs associated with universal profiles include standards for managing digital assets, including both issued and received assets, right? This allows users to have better control and transparency over their digital assets and the related data attached to them. Universal profiles support attached metadata to user profiles, and assets like the 725Y and the 725Y standard allows you to like store things in, like it's like the hopper in the back, right? It's your backpack. You're able to put stuff in there. It's really kind of cool. The feature enhances user experience by allowing users to add context and information to their profiles. All of this is in contrast to, again, the 4337, which is primarily designed to improve how you pay for gas on the blockchain. Notice 4337 is very limited in scope. Universal profiles is an expansive vision for how future development and future interaction can happen inside of a blockchain ecosystem. And I guess I'll end with this. 4337 can always be plugged into universal profiles as well. So if that proves to be the best way to abstract gas away from the end user, you can plug that into the universal profile, right? So yeah, maybe this stuff is like too much. You're like, oh my God, my head's exploding. Your job is to continue to think critically about what is going on. Don't just take the information from your favorite influencer or your favorite influencer podcast and like end it there. You have to interact with it. You have to think about it. That video that we posted, right? That from the Bankless clip, If you go to Pink Pill Productions, the YouTube, we've clipped up probably 10 videos in the last 2 weeks of Fabian describing the exact same thing, but better, right? Talking about this from years ago. It's not this new thing that we just decided it needed to happen. Fabian and team have been working on this with full force, with real vision for years now, and it's about to launch. Alts makes me very, very happy where I'm at. And I think I'm pointing at you with your many arms, get on your keyboard and start responding to videos like that from Bankless and say, hey, honestly, this is a blind spot for you. It's time that you start addressing the innovation that's out there in the ecosystem, because to not discuss it is not, it wouldn't be it would not be a podcast on my arm doing that. To not discuss it is really honestly only harming the end user, which is like the person consuming your content. And off my soapbox.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. First of all, I need to add a sound effect for every time your arm just breaks. But yeah, but like, I mean, this is like a case in point of like maxis. They don't want to think forwardly, or they don't want to change. They get entrenched in the same old stuff, and that's how we get stagnant in the space, right? This is the whole reason we need a new L1, right? Is to start from scratch, because you're just going to get people to just rework what they've already done. Like, it's very, very difficult, right? So you just kind of move over, build a new chain, and just blow past them, right? And then eventually they'll move over as well, because it will make it easy for them, right? But like you talked about, things like security and customization, those are the things that happen at the layer below the wallet. That's the big difference, right? It allows you to do things like create a vault. There's laid tiered security. So you go to one of these platforms and you're interacting. Okay, so it's like I've got my clone in my wallet. I could interact and say like, okay, I can go play this game or do this thing, but my asset never gets actually exposed, right? He mentioned like all these stolen Bored Apes, right? Like, but imagine if you went to do this claim and you could showcase like, oh, I've got the ape verified, but it's never at risk of losing access because of the tiered layered security, right? You could have your vault that never connects to anything without having to have multiple different wallets and things. It's all still in the same profile, right? But you can also customize that the security itself can be customized, right? You can set it up to where you have like only approved NFTs that are verified can enter my wallet. So if someone sends me a scam NFT, you can have it stopped at the outer layer, and it never even enters your wallet in the first place, right? Like, I know everyone that uses NFTs nowadays is like, you see all these scam NFTs in your wallet, and it's gross, right? And it's dangerous. And you just try to avoid them as best you can, right? So I was thinking, listening to you, ETH, I was trying to imagine like this analogy running through my head, and it was like, okay, someone's like, okay, you've got $1 million. Okay, we're going to put it in your little wallet, and you've got to run through the streets of Neon Tokyo at night. Good luck, right? That's basically what we're doing now. Versus with a profile, it's like, okay, we're going to give you this, cyberpunk backpack. You get to put the money in there, right? You're going to put it on. We're going to also give you a security team of Navy SEALs to escort you. But we're also going to put you inside of a vault that sits inside of a tank that's driving with drones flying. Just the amount of security and ease of use is just going to be so much better. You're not risking everything, right? If you get now, it's like you're constantly, it's on you to make sure that, because everything's at risk every time you interact with your wallet, and that's such a dangerous way to do it, right? But one thing to keep in mind too, ETH, is that all these standards that even they were talking about in that video of just like the list of all these things that you're trying to do to kind of piecemeal account abstraction, LUKSO it's a layer 1 EVM. We can implement any standard that ETH ever comes up with too, on top of everything else we're doing. So it's just like win-win, right?
Win-win. So the question is, alts, waiting for you to fill in the blank.
What's the question?
I don't know. You have it typed in your notes. I'm staring at it. The question is,
when is Bankless going to look up?
Oh, that's exactly it. So that closes our initial segment there. Really, it's time to do some research, but it's also time. I think we're pretty good with the reply armies on LUKSO, but I think it's time for us to honestly start taking people to task and start letting people know that it's not okay to ignore this innovation, because it's here, and the general population will benefit from it. All right.
For sure.
What you hear in this podcast is really just our opinion, and it's not professional financial advice. We're not experts. If you need specific advice, please ask someone who's a professional in that area. Listen at your own risk and always double check before making decisions based on what we talk about. And I preface that because we're going to go up and to the right, and it's time to start to evaluate a pretty unique opportunity here at the commencement of what looks like a future bull market. And up and to the right, we provide a weekly review of the markets from a LUKSO perspective. We present a range of prices from the lowest to the highest over the last 7 days, and then we give the prevailing price at the time of the broadcast. Moreover, we provide a summary of the market capitalization comparing the existing market framework with our market cap goal, which is a humble top 100 placement. And then we'll give you the associated price point, what that would take. So you can see it's been more of over into the right instead of up into the right. Current price is hanging about $5. We got a market capitalization of about 145 million. If we wanted to be in the top 100, you can see we'd need a price right now of about $9.20. I make mention of this because Universal Profiles on mainnet are about to launch with incredible DApps like Universal Page, along with many, many other things that you're going to be able to interact with, which are going to expose for you exactly how the user experience has improved here on the LUKSO blockchain. Please, please, please evaluate and do your own research. But alts, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. Do you feel the same?
Oh, sorry, I was muted there for a second. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I feel the same. It's like, I feel great about where we're at. It's kind of the calm before the storm, right? That tsunami is just continuing to swell. We've got some exciting stuff lining up, and the timing, at the end of the day, it's been a long ride already, but it feels like we might actually work out really well with the timing and the greater ecosystem as, things start looking more and more turning bullish, over the next few months.
Sure. Absolutely. With Bitcoin up today, all the greater market is looking more and more positive after a pretty brutal bear market. Let's check out the network update. Let's look at our staking launch pad from LUKSO. Always love that stinger. We got about almost 2.4 million LUKS locked up. That's over 73,000 validators, and we keep growing with the current APR of about 10.1%. Checking out the launchpad or the dashboard from LUKS.tools, generously sponsored by Vlad Lakonis through his own time and effort to make this available for all of the stakers who want to participate in the LUKSO blockchain. Two numbers I want to bring out for you there. One, the validator queue is about 3 hours. So you could load up a validator right now, get your keys, and be making rewards in about 3 hours, which is quite lovely if you are a home staker. And there is liquid staking solutions that are coming, and they are coming fast. Again, keep your eyes peeled and your ears to the ground. The other number I want to make mention of, alts, we have gone over the 300 total nodes. That is over 300 unique devices that are keeping the historical state of the LUKSO blockchain, which is fantastic. The more nodes we have, the more decentralized we are, the better off we are going to be. Clap, clap, clap for everyone involved, right?
Yeah, no, I love to see the continued growth. It's just, slow and steady as it wins the race.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. All right, some big news on the network front. We got a message from LUKSO. Get ready for Build Up #2. Register for the most anticipated hackathon yet and participate in building the next generation of DApps on Universal Profiles. And it starts on October 30th. I get super excited every time that there's a hackathon, because every time a hackathon pops up, we get some amazing individual with a great idea that actions it and gives us another opportunity to see what is possible on this blockchain.
Now I'm so excited for this. So far we've had Hack Your Profile, and then we had the Build Up #1, and now this is the third one, Build Up #2. And this is actually the first time we've had Universal Profiles live on the final test net, right, during one of these. And maybe, just maybe, there's a chance we've got Universal Profiles live on mainnet when this starts. That would be amazing. But, I expect to see some new dope utility with these LSP standards. And if you're a dev wanting to showcase your talents, make sure that you get registered.
Yeah, make sure you get registered so we can cover you. And if you have a really great idea and you build something and you ever want to come chat with us, we'll be more than happy to sit you down. We'll talk all about what you got going on, because we are LUKSO maxis, unabashedly so. It will at least be maximalist until people see the greater vision of profiles. And then if profiles move across the other L2s or any other EVM out there, we will become universal profile maximalist, because ultimately we just want to see people using the blockchain for more things that will help their life, and even if that's chatting with your best friend in another city abroad, that can all happen in a place where you own that interaction.
Yeah, well said, Heath. Well said. And the great thing about these is it showcases more examples, right? We'll be able to show off, because it's like all we really do is, we talk about how these standards are going to get used, and obviously it's just more discussions. But to be able to see, through these projects, you get to see more real world examples, right? And yeah, so I think people are going to start really getting excited when they see some of this stuff. Speaking of real world examples, we've got another integration with LUKSO and Thirdweb. So Thirdweb says they're excited to announce they now support public RPC endpoints for both the LUKSO testnet and mainnet. Now, Thirdweb, it's a user-friendly platform crafted to equip devs with no-code and low-code tools for creating Web3 applications, basically bringing Web2 and Web3 to. So, and it's very sleek.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Such a beauty, a new creation. Let's build perfection. Such a beauty.
If you watch mask or
It's all that you say.
imagine I only choose universal profiles because that's all I have to choose. Wouldn't that be considerably better? It's always great to have low code because ultimately
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Such a beauty, a new creation. Let's build perfection. Such a beauty.
Pinkest Tweet. Check them out.
I appreciate our man Jack because he hashtagged us with the wrap up. Please do that in the future if you're watching, because we're always checking that hashtag, even though that hashtag is probably used by many people. It enables us to find these really kind of cool shout outs. And I love seeing that on the curved screen there in Jack's house. Believe it or not, though, Alt, I didn't actually look at the screen. The first thing I noticed was the animal crackers, and then Jack. Animal crackers and ketchup, you're gross, dude. You're gross.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure to use that hashtag. We're gonna ratio that hashtag, so we just take it over. But yeah, that was the first thing I noticed too, was the animal crackers, and then to realize and find out when Jack, gave us that alpha that he dips his animal crackers in ketchup. I mean, that's crazy, man. I don't know how you do that, Jack.
Yeah, that's behavior that. Honestly, you just got engaged. I don't know how Jem wanted you around eating animal crackers with ketchup, but that's okay. I guess.
Hey, you know what? You do you, bro. You do you. Next up, we've got one from Ninja. Shout out Ninja, OG fam. He's officially become pink pilled with his first LUKSO validator. Oh,
there we go.
Problem. LUKSO solves that. Yep, love to see it. Yeah. Ninja finally took the pink pill. Well done, fam.
Again, none of this is financial advice, but he says, I just got my first LUKSO validator. You need 32 LYX tokens in order to deposit and run a validator on the LUKSO network. It seems like Ninja here has 33, so he has one more than he actually needs, which is cool. But at only $5 a token, I mean, this is an extraordinary deal. If you believe in this ecosystem like we do, this is a deal. Not financial advice, but
definitely never financial advice.
Never.
But he did say first LUKSO validator, so hopefully he's going to be stacking those bad boys up when they're this cheap. Not financial advice, never financial advice.
Pretty soon you'll become a maxi, and you'll be just like Simon wearing that pink hoodie. Some of us have been circling the bowl for a long time here, and for those of us with our pink hoodies, I can't rock them enough, honestly. Interesting story. When my pink hoodie showed up, my in-laws live in the in-law suite, and I don't know who took the box in, but somehow, some way, they grabbed this gift that was for the Ethylorian because the Ethylorian is a LUKSO maxi, and took it out of the box that it was in with the nice note to the Ethylorian, and then threw it in a bag at the bottom of the closet. And it was only when cleaning out that apartment, I was like, what the hell? Oh my God, I thought this thing got lost in the mail.
Oh man, you were so heartbroken for the longest time.
I was salty. I was so salty.
Oh yeah, shout out Mason Looks. Yeah, those are such great quality. The quality of the materials is just insane. And the digital version looks very, very sweet as well, I'm not gonna say.
Ooh, nice.
But yeah, next up we've got one from another clone, Marcello Badass Kawaii. Yeah, I love these pink vibes, fam. Please keep these coming. They are beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I also love the embracing of digital identity here. I do realize that we have volume on that. I do realize that Marcello is really connected with the fashion house, and that's actually not Marcello, but Badass Kawaii has its very own identity. And Badass Kawaii is someone you can follow on Twitter, especially if you're into high-end fashion. You'll get a lot of really neat, interesting looks into that high-end world. So Marcello, keep these things coming. And
Yeah. And if you didn't know, so Marcello actually has a fashion store in Milano, and he actually has a digital store that is the visual equivalent as well. So he's doing some really cool stuff, utilizing these assets. So I love the path that he's chosen to go down.
Sure. All right, that brings us to the winner that we chose because of the ethos of the tweet. The winner is actually from the Universal Punks. It's the Universal Punks main account. Freedom or being free should be everyone's goal. Peeps often confuse crypto with blockchain. Crypto is a trap, but blockchain will set you free. Remember, technology is supposed to be democratizing. And I love this vibe from Universal Punks. I mean, the artwork is cool too. And if you catch the alpha at the bottom, speaking of free, Universal Punks will be a free mint on the LUKSO blockchain. Wow. Congrats, man. Love this. Congrats on the win.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, the art is always so dope. It's so cool. And well said. Yeah, crypto's it's like the marketing wing, right? Whereas blockchain is the actual tech and the engine behind all of it, right? But yeah, I'm excited for. I love that it's going to be a free mint. That is so cool. I know a lot of fam are ready to get their hands on some of these and get these bad boys sitting in some universal profiles. But yeah, that leads us into the fame section of the show. Big shout out, happy birthday to the Queen, Marjorie. I saw a ton of pics from the party. This one's from someone tweeted it out. Most of the stuff I saw was on Instagram. Make sure you follow Marjorie. She always drops some dope alpha on there. But it looked like a quite epic party. Hope everyone had a blast there. Happy birthday, Marjorie.
Happy birthday, Marjorie. And even though I'm colorblind, I can still tell that that's a beautiful photo.
It's pink.
Yeah. And if you're looking to find Marjorie in person, she will be speaking in Amsterdam this November, discussing connecting creative culture with emerging technologies as part of a panel. It's always great to hear Marjorie talk. I know you've heard her talk a few times, alts in person. Can you speak to that experience quickly?
Yeah. I mean, I will tell you this. Marjorie has this amazing ability, which I mean, I've kind of regurgitated a lot of stuff that I've heard her say because it's just so good. But she has this insane talent where she has this wealth of knowledge, and she can speak to someone or a crowd or an individual, gather what their abilities within that ecosystem or spectrum are, and within seconds she can gauge a response instantly, exactly where it needs to be, and deliver whatever they're capable of handling, right? With no ceiling on it, right? So it's quite impressive how good of a speaker she is. So yeah, just happy to have her on our team for sure. Yeah. Next up, we've got one from Fabian, the wizard. looking up to the future while trying out the new MetaQuest 3. I absolutely love that our founders are so, engrossed into emerging technology, and especially VR, as an avid VR user myself.
Yeah, I bet you Fabian was on the ones and twos and using the district VR there. That's my guess. You have any guesses what he was doing?
Yeah, that or he could be driving a vehicle, sitting there. Maybe he's racing, racing in his pink Ferrari.
Yeah, I'm just happy that it looks like he cleared out plenty of space for the Guardian, right? So he's not going to
Yeah.
trip and fall and break his hand, so he can't code anymore.
Yeah, just stay clear of that window. Don't be chasing a disc running out that window or something. I've done that. I've done that before when I had a big space. I had a garage like dedicated to VR at one point, and I was playing some competitive gaming, and I was running, basically and I literally tripped and just completely flew out of my space into the wall. It was quite hilarious. I got out relatively unscathed, but it happens. It can be dangerous.
I would pay for that video. Like if you could surface that video, I'd pay for it.
Yeah. I think I had the screen record, but not the visual. I wanted to see the visual of me flying out of my zone. That would have been hilarious. But yeah, that's great. So the next topic actually is one that's kind of been running around on Twitter. I thought was pretty interesting. Love seeing the chatter about the newly listed wrapped Mist coin, as it was likely the first ever ERC20 token made back in 2015, co-created with Fendora, Fabian and a few others there. And it's just nice kind of see it come full circle, right? As they started with ERC20, and now we've got ERC725 rolls into LUKSO and LSPs, universal profiles, as it's all about to go live on mainnet. It's a really nice throwback.
It is a nice throwback, and the only thing I have to say about this is, while everyone is going, yay, account abstraction, just understand that Fabian has been on the team since the beginning, trying to figure out how to best use blockchain from a user perspective. Although Mist has been deprecated and is not available out there. And I think in some ways it didn't land in the way that they anticipated when they first started playing around with this or experimenting with it. Know that Fabian's mind has been in this space since 2015. It's now 2023. And if you are at all feeling like, well, I don't really know about LUKSO, I don't know much about it, it's this fashion thing. No, he's been trying to solve the problem of how to onboard users into a powerful blockchain experience for the last 8 years. I'm pretty sure somewhere along the line.
I've done the digging when I first got into LUKSO, trying to find everything I could, and I've got stuff going back 2012, 2013 from Fabian talking about some of these concepts. It's just crazy how far ahead of the curve they are.
Yeah, I think so. ABSA, Alex Vandesanda, who actually judged in the BuildUP #1 hackathon and was the lead on the Mist project, actually said this last year as part of the BuildUP hackathon. He goes, you can be wrong by being right too early. So Mist was, I think, a little bit before its time. And for the last few years, many people have said, what's LUKSO? We don't have to pay attention to LUKSO. Well, right. We might have been right just a little bit too early. And in that way, we might have been wrong. But I feel like we're at an inflection point now, friends, where the time is upon us.
Yeah. Well, the time is now for sure. Like I said, it feels like the universe has just kind of let it all play out as it should, right? Looking back, I think we'll be extremely happy how it all played out.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right. Well, hey, everyone, if you enjoyed this show, because we're actually at the end of it, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We try to get those shorts out there, little digestible bits to help you start to wrap your head around what LUKSO is and what the value proposition is. And then at the same time, allow you to share those things out to your friends, your family, or your other acquaintances that might exist out on social media, so they can wrap their heads around this incredible technology as well. Thanks for the support.
Yeah, we appreciate it, fam. So Ethan, it feels like the Bulls are kind of slowly taking over from the Bears, maybe, as things, start to roll up. I like to imagine kind of how we just might start, beating down some bears and force them into hibernation. But what if you punched a bear and knocked its teeth out? What do you call a bear with no teeth?
The visual of punching a bear, like a bear's coming at me, and I'm just like, bah! You have to stick.
Yeah. So if you imagine you punch that bear and knocked his teeth out, what do you call a bear with no teeth?
What do you call a bear with no teeth. I have no idea. This one, I don't even have a guess.
A gummy bear.
Oh, I was gonna say gum. I was
Were
gonna
you
say
really? Oh
gum.
my god.
I wasn't gonna say gummy bear, but I was gonna say like gums.
You were circling the wagon. You were close.
Oh, Rob got it. Rob's got the note there.
Oh,
Rob had
beautiful,
it.
beautiful. Well done, Rob.
That's
But
awesome.
now, yeah, we appreciate you all for those of you watching live and for those of you watching on your own time. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day. And yeah, keep the comments. LUKSO solves this. Keep dropping that alpha on the socials, fam. We're in that organic phase where it's up to us to kind of keep spreading the word. But hope everyone's Friday is going great, and hope you have a wonderful weekend. And yeah, fam, do what you do and stay pink.